Hello everyone, welcome to Liberal Tarot. I'm Sherry, Blue Dot, and a red state utilizing tarot to help us navigate these very interesting times that we have going on here in the United States. So I'm really glad that you're here and welcome. Real quick, if I could just ask for you guys to subscribe and like, it helps me grow my channel, and I really do appreciate it. So maybe you've been watching for a while and you don't know if you want to subscribe yet. That's fine. If you could like the video, as I said, every little bit helps, and I do appreciate it. So the focus of today's reading is going to be about Anonymous. Now, when I was thinking about Anonymous, I was like, didn't I do a reading on Anonymous? And yes, I did. It was like 2 months ago. And so I went back, I just finished up watching it, and I'm going to link that video. In fact, you might want to watch it first. I'm not sure how this reading is going to go, but I was blown away by what I got in that reading. So real quick, Anonymous, they've released, a day, 38 days until they're releasing something about the Trump administration. And what they said was they were basically, think something that, everyone thinks is a conspiracy theory. They're bringing the receipts and the evidence that could, put a stop to, this administration. The day 34 message, which I came across, was really interesting because the very beginning of that was talking about how everyone is feeling like this uneasiness, like this undertow, this undercurrent of just this uneasiness and anxiety. And it's like, oh yeah, we're there, So I found that interesting. I just kind of wanted to do a side note on that. I will post links to those videos below. And I will also link the my previous Anonymous reading. I'll link it over here at the very end of this one. So what I got in that original reading, now, as I said, I don't always remember my readings. I mean, it quite literally is like information in, information out, not mine to hold on to, and I don't remember the readings. I mean, I may remember like in broad strokes, but I don't remember the like small details, which I need to remember better because that's where I get my tarot rewinds from. Whenever, something happens and then it's like, oh, it's a tarot rewind. This reading that I did on Anonymous, that whole reading could be a tarot rewind. I mean, I was blown away, and it was my reading, and I was like, oh my. So briefly, what I got in that was I did the base reading, and then the second part of that reading is kind of where I'm going to pick up here. What I got, the very center of that was the Seven of Wands and the Two of Pentacles. And it was like, are they going to be bringing evidence that the election was stolen? Because that's the feeling I got from that. And what I got was that the truth is out there, but it is hidden. And it was like the High Priestess of the Two of Swords, like it is hidden. Like they thought that was locked away in a vault somewhere, but Anonymous has found it. And that whatever it is that Anonymous releases, Trump is not happy and the people rejoice. Okay. And the King of Swords came up, which I've been getting the King of Swords around this administration. I don't know if I kind of wonder if it's not Chief Justice Roberts or the courts or somebody, like making that decision, like you are done. And it just removes the entire, like this entire administration is null and void. I've gotten that in some other readings. I know other readers are getting it, and we're all sitting here going, it sounds fantastical, and it doesn't matter unless there's evidence. So we're not out there screaming that the election was stolen. We're saying if it was, we got to see the evidence. And so is that what Anonymous is bringing forward? I mean, and that's kind of why I want to check in today. So, yeah, I want to check in on that, kind of a follow-up with that. I always say at the end of the videos, I'll watch this and then, I'll do a follow-up. And so here it is, the Anonymous follow-up of what I want to do, a base reading of what are they going to release? Like, can we get some idea of what it is that's going to be released? And then I'll go from, and like maybe like what's the fallout gonna be, like that kind of stuff. So, oh, let me get this. Sorry, I'm having problems getting this to kind of work. Okay, as always, this is for entertainment purposes only. computer there. Okay. So we're looking at Anonymous. Just base reading, what are they going to be releasing here at the end of June, beginning of July? What are they going to be releasing? So I did say for entertainment purposes only, right? See, I tell you, I say things, it's just information in, information out, and I really don't remember. So, Anonymous. What do we need to know? Okay. This is, a lot of readers read this card as disappointment, and it is. It absolutely is disappointment. But it also is hope. So this is a card of like, not all is lost whenever you're looking at the hope aspect of this. So what's sad for others is going to be rejoicing for other people. Okay. So that's kind of the feeling I'm getting from this. Some people aren't going to be very happy with what Anonymous releases, but some of us are going to be very happy with what is released. Okay. I feel like we're putting a lot of expectations on whatever it is they release. So I really hope they deliver. The challenge to this is the King of Pentacles. Because I got this as Musk in the first reading, right now I'm going to tend to think that this is Musk. Okay. We'll see what else comes up. But that the challenge would be, what is it that Musk has done? What is it Musk is trying to keep hidden? Okay. Our options. What are the options that have coming in? 9 of Cups. Okay. This is a card of happiness, and in its lower energy, it's one of gluttony, which is why I usually say drunk on power. If you notice in this deck, you've got the red nose with, little red, that flushed look, like someone's drunk, and you've got, the hat here, red hat. So definitely, that's where I'm getting that drunk on power from with this. So, the options are, how is it that this administration has used their power, and the emotions that also go with it. So it's not just their power, it's how they're feeling about that power too, and how they're misusing that power just to wreak havoc on our economy, on people's lives. So this is, I think that it's almost like Anonymous has choices of what they could actually release. Release it all. Okay, just release it all. If you're having to decide, just release all of it. Okay, past experiences, Anonymous delivers. Whenever they say they're going to release something, they do. And you can go, I'm not going to rehash the history of what things that they've released, but they do have a history of, bringing the receipts. And they also, was able to disrupt Twitter there for a bit, whenever they kind of came back around a couple of months ago. So this is telling me, hopefully this is more than just disruption of Twitter. But they are going forward and bringing these receipts just like they always do. Whenever they say that they're going to, they do. Recent influences. This is an interesting card to come up with recent influences. And this is one of just the anxiety and stress of what we are going through right now as a country. Okay, so these recent influences, just, the restrictions, the anxiety, and the stress. And, really, like, how are we going to get out of this? And the potential. This is going to be, okay, pages are messages, and swords is going to be action. I always say this is someone you don't want to go into battle with, but I'm kind of getting the feeling with this card is they're just releasing the information. It isn't for them to decide what legal action is to be taken. So look for the messages that are going to be released is going to be things that legal action can be taken on. Okay. So that's, and what was interesting is as I was shuffling, I noticed that you have the Queen of Wands here. I always get this as my Pam Bondi card. And so it's like, are we going to wait? It's not going to be something that Pam Bondi does. That, or, if I'm going to just read these two together, it's like she can't defend the actions of this administration. Okay, if I'm going to take into account that bottom card. I noticed it whenever I was shuffling. So, and some readers, they read that bottom card. So, yeah, this is like things that I don't know that they can defend themselves against. Okay, let's just ask the $1 million question. Is this going to be about election interference? Okay, is this going to be about the election being stolen in whatever way that looks like it could be? Okay, this is saying that they are bringing the receipts, and it's related to Elon Musk. Okay, so is this going to be about our election being stolen? Okay. This brings an end to this administration. So it's almost like this feeling of it doesn't really matter what it is, whether the election was stolen or, whatever it was, or interference, whatever that is, it brings this administration to an end. Okay. The challenge, Pam Bondi, okay, if it's not, the challenge could be that, I am really curious if the challenge to this is that Pam Bondi hasn't been the one that's been covering this up. That now this information is going to be brought to light, and maybe she was the one covering it up. Whoever this is like evidence, I'm going to see the messages and the evidence is being brought out into the light. Okay. And that's definitely something that she is not wanting. Options, the people rise up. Okay. Remember, this is also Pluto energy. And this is going to be this is pretty explosive information that's going to be coming out. The horn of truth is sounded. People uprise. The past experiences. This coming here at the base of this is going to be like our happy, stable home. Like and I'm going to be doing, I don't know what the order of these readings are going to be coming out on, but the tariffs, and there was like this court of international trade. It was like a special 13th district federal court that only looks at like these international trade and patents and stuff. It's like, why do we know this? These are things that we should not know. Can we go back to just like not needing to know all of this stuff? I feel like we're getting a crash course, kind of on like the nitty gritty crooks and crannies of our government. That's kind of like, I want to be able to wake up not knowing, worried about, what the hell has the drunk monkey done today? What has he done today? This is the past experiences of wanting to go back to like calmer, happier times. The recent influences, this is really going to blow up. I mean, this is huge. These two cards together this is explosive energy anyway. This is absolutely explosive energy. This is also a card of learning your lessons. And if you don't, there's been so many chances that this administration could have been brought to an end. But because Congress didn't stop it, because, fill in the blank, you now get to learn the lesson with the cosmic 2x4. What's really sad is that all of us are now thrown into this learning lessons because of MAGA. Okay, so whatever it is, it's going to be explosive, and the potential is Queen of Cups. This is a return to happier times. This is going to be, I see this as like the entitlements being, reestablished and returned to normal. So it could be also messages from the Democrats. Maybe they, are getting back into power. We will have to see with that. So yeah, this isn't saying necessarily that it's about the election. I asked, was the election stolen? And it says, this card is like telling me it doesn't matter necessarily what they say. It's that whatever that's come out is that this administration is coming to an end. The people rise up. The whole thing, falls apart. We return to happier times. And these two queens are coming up. I'm curious about these two queens. Let me just ask real quick what's going on with these two queens. And it really could even be, that the evidence comes out, and then, like that it's very, we have the evidence, and then like the emotions attached to that evidence. But let me just see, who are these two queens? Just real quick, 3 cards. Messages, nights changes about, messages. And also, I was getting, the wands has also been my coding card. And so changes within the coding. And that was, a concern about Musk was saying he could just change a couple lines in those tabulation machines and change the results. And the Election Truth Alliance, I have done a reading on them before. They're continuing their work and wanting that forensic analysis done and counting of those ballots. Let's look at those swing state ballots. And so changes in coding and the justice card, something that legal action is going to be taken. And up in the air, we don't know exactly what that is yet, but it would not surprise me if it doesn't. Elon Musk, if you remember, comes back here, very beginning of this is Elon Musk. So I'm wondering, if this isn't something about Doge or something that Elon Musk has done, that he's been trying, illusions. He's been trying to keep hidden. He's been trying, like, this illusion that, Trump won the election, when really, what if he just changed the tabulation machines in some of those swing states? That is very interesting. So, yeah, with that, I'm thinking about that other reading and this reading. I think that if there has been election interference beyond just the Russian propaganda and Elon Musk dumping millions into that campaign and the voter suppression, and I'm kind of wondering if it isn't like evidence about voter suppression that's coming out. And that voter suppression encompasses, everything from, registering to vote, to voting, to, what happens to your ballot after you've turned it in. And like, it was like 2 million or some ballots were thrown out, for whatever reasons. And so it was enough ballots were thrown out that could have made a difference in the election. So, with voter suppression, did Elon Musk do something? Is it a combination of things? This 7 of Cups, maybe it was a combination of things that put this administration in office. So with these two readings that, are going quite nicely together, it wouldn't surprise me if there was election interference, but at the same time, it would surprise me if there was election interference, just because, the elections, have always been secure. But we also haven't had to deal with, an Elon Musk before, in our elections. So this is very interesting. I'm, waiting for that countdown of, I'm not sure how many, I'm recording this on the 30th. So we have like 32 more days until we find out what the big reveal is. So, yeah, I will watch this. I'm going to link that other anonymous reading right here. That was really good. This was just a follow-up on that. I think I got most of my information from, really good information from that first reading. And subscribe. So thank you for being here, and I will catch you on the next reading. Have a good day.